profile. I talk about it all the time in a few of my workshops, but when I ask what people do to raise their profile, I typically get a screen filled with blank stares. We mustn't be invisible. When we're invisible, people don't know nor appreciate what we do. So raising your profile is mandatory to your future. So this week, I asked you the difficult question, what can we do to raise our profile? And you did not disappoint. Our first tip comes from the island of Guernsey, which is an English channel off the coast of Normandy, and it's brought to us by Julie Twist. Julie says that her office recently had a reshuffle, so now not all of her team are close by. So one of the first things that Julie does each morning is to walk around to the other side of the office and say good morning to everyone. Simple yet effective. Not only good for team dynamics, but good for her profile too. Our second tip is something that Karen Swoops from Nashville, Tennessee is known for. Karen recommends that we seek opportunities to network with others outside of your immediate network by doing things like joining professional associations and then sharing the knowledge that you've learned with the colleagues you work with by having things such as lunch and learn. I know that Karen and I met at IAAP many years ago, and she has used my workshops and webinars to not only educate the admins at her company, but also to raise her own profile as the one in the know about where to go at work. Leslie Hartwell from Rapid City, South Dakota says that she has raised her profile by showing additional value to her organization. Leslie shared on Facebook that she is the travel administrator at work, and she has secured $50,000 in refunds on flights from 2020 and opened up credits for 2021. This year, her company hasn't had to pay much for flights at all. Now, I'd like to think that if you saved your company over $50,000, you'd be showing those in charge what you've done, and that will certainly raise your profile. Good work, Leslie. Elizabeth White Peters from Stratford, Connecticut shared a tip that many of you agreed with. Volunteer. Volunteer on committees. Get involved in charitable events that your company sponsors, but be sure that your hand up goes first as often as you can. Elizabeth's tip is taken a step further by Lisa Olson-Tilley from Naperville, Illinois. Lisa says that the more people that you can get to know, the better it is for you. And a great way to get to know people outside of your department and function is to network. As Lisa shared, sometimes the old adage, it's not what you know, but who you know is true. And having made a good impression is priceless. Networking will absolutely raise your profile. Now, number 6 and 7 come from Katrina Carlson from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Katrina shares that we should treat everyone in the company with respect, from the janitor, the mail carriers, all the way up to the CEO. Each person has a specific role, and each role is important. I'll add on to her number 6 tip and advise you to not only treat them with respect, but to know their names as well. I'm sure that you know the name of your CEO, but do you know the name of the person who serves you coffee each day? It doesn't matter who you are. People will never forget how you made them feel. And of course, that's my very favorite quote from Maya Angelou. Imagine if you're in line for coffee and you thank your server by name for serving you your coffee. Imagine that in the line, the CEO is directly behind you. You identifying that you know the server by name speaks volumes about you, and I'm willing to bet that your server will feel special as well. Raise your profile by treating all of the people at work with respect, regardless of how much money they make. Katrina also shared that we can visually raise our profile by ensuring that what we see in the mirror reflects corporate culture. We will all admit to raising our eyebrows when someone comes into work looking like they just rolled out of bed or they're ready to go to the club. Make sure that you aren't raising your awareness by negatively affecting your reputation. Now, I appreciate that looks different in every office, so I can't say don't do this and do that. But what I can say is pay attention to what is considered appropriate for your corporate culture and treat it like your work uniform. Wear what you want after work, but during office hours, wear the uniform to look like you belong. Number 8 is from Heather Steffen from Anna, Texas. Heather recommends that one of the best things that she has done at work to raise her profile is to ask for stretch opportunities. This is more than just volunteering to help in other areas, but deliberately having a growth mindset. Learn more about the company and how it operates. Read quarterly reports. Put a Google search on, or the name of your CEO into the Google search so that you know that every time they are in the news. Stretch the role you have to prove that you can take on more. Tracy Kempthorne from Petawawa, Ontario says that to raise your profile, you need to be the helpful and kind person that everyone knows they can count on to point them in the right direction. Who is the go-to person? You are. And number 10 comes from me, and it might be the hardest of all of the tips. Force yourself to use your voice in meetings. Get prepared before every meeting that you go to so that you can ask 3 intelligent questions or to be willing to share your opinion on things. Now, if you're too shy, start by sharing your questions with your executives after the meeting and ask her if this is the type of information you should be sharing during the meeting, or would they prefer it privately afterwards. This way, you know you aren't stepping on any toes, yet you're still adding a lot of value by your questions or ideas. When you do things invisibly, no one even notices that they are done, and they certainly don't care that you did them. Many of us have liked our invisible roles in the past, but they are dangerous to your future. Don't become the invisible man, for if you do, you'll become the unemployed man too. Good luck. Get visible.